They called her Miss Denise. Not Denise Jenkins, not Mrs. Jenkins like she preferred, just Miss Denise, the janitor. If you ever worked at Cresswell Holdings, you'd know her face. Or maybe you wouldn't, because most people looked right through her. Every single morning at 5:45, she was already there. Gray uniform faded from too many washes, sneakers with soles worn flat. Pushing that squeaky little cart past the glass doors, mopping up messes nobody cared to notice. You'd hear the click of her mop, that steady rhythm, and you might catch a quiet look on her face, like she'd been doing this her whole life. And, in a way she had. 15 years of picking gum wrappers off the break room floor, scrubbing away last night's fingerprints from the elevator buttons, and clearing out conference rooms littered with crumpled napkins after some big shots important meeting. To most folks, she was like the furniture, part of the wallpaper. If she was in the room, people talked right around her, sometimes through her, like she was invisible. Except for a handful of good ones, the interns, the temps who hadn't learned yet that the culture was to pretend she didn't exist. But Denise, she wasn't bitter, not at first, anyway. She kept her head down, kept her mouth shut, and she listened. Listened to the laughter from the corner offices. Listened to the conversations folks thought didn't need to be whispered. The jokes, the bragging, the little lies, and the big ones. She learned everything she needed just from her mop and a pair of good ears. One time, a marketing guy left an untouched sandwich on top of the trash can, couldn't even be bothered to put it inside. She just tossed it, no fuss. He walked by, didn't thank her, just said, "Make sure the carpet's dry before 3." The next day he spilled coffee and blamed her. She just nodded, smiled, moved on. That wasn't the first time, wouldn't be the last. 4th floor, senior VP named Doug Fairbanks. Big cologne, bigger ego, laughed to his assistant. Imagine working here all your life and not even having a desk. She heard him. He didn't care. Most of them didn't. In that building, title was everything. Respect was a prize you had to win with quarterly targets and way too many meetings that could have been emails. What they didn't know was Denise owned more of the company than anybody in that office. But she kept it quiet. She just walked her route, pausing to wipe down the company logo when it got smudged, never rushing, never slowing down. Then, one morning, as she moved past the executive offices, her phone buzzed. A message. "We're ready when you are." She read it, slid her phone away, and kept walking. But this time, she wasn't just mopping floors. She was heading straight for the end of a very long game. Let me back up a sec. Before Denise ever touched a mop at Cresswell, she sat at a kitchen table in Columbus, Georgia, poring over business plans with her husband, Roland. Back when Cresswell Holdings wasn't even a name, just an idea scribbled on a grocery receipt. Roland had that hungry ambition you couldn't teach. Grew up running delivery trucks with his uncle. Knew every back road in Alabama and South Carolina before anybody called it logistics. Denise was the one with the vision, the brains behind the curtain. Quiet, always watching, quick to spot what didn't fit. In 1998, Roland and his buddy Curtis scraped enough to rent a little office, 2 flip phones, and a fax machine that jammed more than it worked. Denise was the first investor, her father's life insurance. "Put it in your name," she told Roland. "I'll stay in the background." He asked if she was sure. She just said, "I know what I'm doing." And she did. In 6 years, the company exploded. Curtis did the schmoozing, Roland ran the trucks, and Denise kept the books, filed paperwork, even registered a side company just in case. It was her way of protecting them. But nobody protected Roland. In 2004, a wreck on I-85 took him, just like that. Curtis gave a short speech at the funeral, all business, barely mentioned Denise. That was the first warning. The second came when Curtis filed paperwork taking Roland's name off everything and stopped talking to Denise altogether. Figured she'd go away. But Denise had legal receipts, signed docs giving her equal ownership, and leverage. She could have sued, could have marched in with lawyers and taken over right then. But she waited. Denise knew the difference between having power and using it right. She stayed silent. No letters, no press, just patience. In 2007, she saw a janitor job opening at Cresswell Logistics. Different name, same company. She circled it, showed up with a fake resume, borrowed address, and new work shoes. Got hired. Curtis never recognized her. By then, there was a new CEO, Thomas Wexler, young, MBA, No idea how the company got built, but plenty of ideas about efficiency. Denise kept showing up, one night at a time, for 15 years. Every trash can, every floor, every bathroom. Her cleaning wasn't just cleaning. It was surveillance. She watched, listened, kept records. And the things you bury always come back up. She was almost done digging. After a decade, Denise knew that building better than anyone. She knew which microwave sparked, which hallway had a loose board, which director was using company cards for personal dinners. Cresswell had gone from a tight little logistics crew to a bloated beast, upper management behind glass, frontline folks fighting for scraps, warehouse drivers with bad backs, overtime slips that never got paid, HR ladies whispering about cutting health coverage. She watched mid-level managers get walked out without warning for protocol violations. One, Terrence, got fired for mentioning pay gaps at a meeting, gone in a week. Denise was invisible in every room. She started writing it all down, a black notebook hidden in her locker, full of dates, names, quotes. You'd see entries like, February 14th, bonus pool cut, they'll take what we give. Wexler, room 508. Or, June 3rd, safety violation, no paperwork, Brenda saw it. Or the time Denise herself heard, let the janitor clean it up, that's what she's paid for. It wasn't bitterness, just clarity. She could see the rot. One night, near midnight, Denise stopped outside the 6th floor exec suite. She heard Wexler laughing inside. If he doesn't like his pay, he can go drive DoorDash. I got 20 resumes waiting. Laughter. Then Meredith, the VP. Half these folks should be grateful we let them in the building. Denise walked away, confirmation, not anger. This place wasn't just broken. It was rotten, and nobody here would fix it. They'd have to be replaced. She started planning. Quietly. She met her lawyer, Elliot Miles, at a diner off US 280, slid him a flash drive, years of records. He went through it all, didn't say a word for a long time, then looked up. You know this'll shake the whole building? Denise nodded. It's already shaking. They just don't know it yet. He started the paperwork. The plan? Let them keep underestimating her. The higher they felt, the harder the fall. But even the patient ones need a spark. For Denise, it was a half-eaten slice of birthday cake, fork stuck in it, chocolate smeared on the carpet, left dead center of the hallway. She bent down, and Wexler's voice called out, You missed a spot. He was smirking, hands in pockets. We've got a big meeting. Think you can give the floor another pass? There wasn't a spot. Denise stood up, cake plate in hand, mop in the other. Wexler laughed. Sometimes I think you people pretend to clean so you can stay on the clock. Denise's eyes narrowed. What people is that? Don't be so sensitive, he said. If I paid you more, maybe you'd see the spots before I did. She blinked, nodded. I'll make sure it's spotless. He strutted off. That night, Denise didn't go home. She used a manager's badge she'd kept just in case. Went to the records room, snapped photos, pulled files, especially the bonus report. Wexler had given himself a $55,000 bonus, cut meal stipends, froze raises, and reduced overtime. Next morning, a janitor named Cynthia came into the locker room in tears. Her son had been in a car accident, her day off request denied. Not enough coverage. Denise heard it all. Quiet. But she stood up, called Elliot. It's time. He said, You sure? She said, I've been cleaning up messes my whole life. Let's go. Within 48 hours, she gave Elliot everything. Called for a shareholder meeting. Scheduled an emergency review. Nobody at Cresswell noticed, until Denise came in wearing a new coat, pressed blouse, shoes that had never touched a mop. Walked straight to the boardroom, folder in hand. The board was all there. Wexler at the head, Meredith, Curtis, everyone. Wexler frowned. Sorry, we're in a meeting. Maintenance comes after hours. Denise stood her ground. I'm not here for maintenance. Meredith tried to dismiss her. Do you have an appointment? Denise said, I believe shareholders were notified. Elliot walked in, calm as you please. My name's Elliot Miles, legal counsel for Mrs. Denise Jenkins, majority shareholder of Cresswell Holdings. You could feel the air go out of the room. Denise laid out the old partnership agreements, updated docs, a letter giving her full voting rights after Roland's death. Curtis went pale. Denise stared him down. You remember those contracts? You helped write them. He shrank into his chair. Denise spoke. For 15 years I watched you pad bonuses, ignore safety, Punish workers for wanting basic decency. She turned to Wexler. And you turned my husband's company into a playground for your ego. Wexler tried to laugh it off. This is a misunderstanding, some kind of scam. Elliot cut in. All verified. Mrs. Jenkins calls a vote of no confidence. She has the authority. Wexler stood, hands on the table. You don't know what you're doing. Denise circled the table, meeting every eye. 15 years, you all looked past me. Let people suffer. Let the company rot. I gave you every chance to do better. At Wexler's chair, she paused. And you failed. He snapped. You think you can just walk in and take over? She leaned in. I am the company. Elliot handed out letters. Wexler was fired. Security showed up. Wexler looked for backup, found none, grabbed his phone and stormed out, Meredith trailing. When the dust settled, Denise looked at the board. I'm not here to play boss. I'm here to rebuild what this place used to stand for. A young board member, Jonas, asked, What do you want to do first? Denise smiled. Start by listening to the people who've been ignored the longest. Change starts today. But just because you take out the garbage doesn't mean the house is clean, and Denise knew the real work was about to start. That Monday, Denise parked in the executive lot for the first time, hated it. Too big, too shiny. Felt wrong. But she walked in, head up, greeted the front desk by name. Morning, Tasha. Took the elevator, no mop, no cart, just a notepad and a calendar. By 9:30, she called a meeting, not with the board, with the employees. Drivers, admins, janitors, customer reps, all crammed in. Denise stood up front. No, Mike, most of you never knew who I was. That's okay. Your work speaks louder than any title in this building. She paused. I'm here to change things, but not alone. I've listened quietly for years. Now I want to hear you out loud. Folks looked around, nervous. Then a driver named Alonzo asked, Do we get overtime back? Denise nodded. Yes, and retro pay. Deborah from HR. What about health coverage? Already reviewing new providers. Everyone gets a say. People started realizing she meant it. Someone in the back asked, Are you really the owner? Denise grinned. Always have been. She promised. If you speak, I'll listen. If you work, you'll be respected. Things didn't get easier, they got harder. Executives tried to block her. Some whispered she wasn't qualified. One guy said, You don't know how to scale growth. Denise just said, I scaled my grief into silence for 15 years. I think I can handle your spreadsheets. That shut him up. She promoted overlooked workers, renegotiated contracts, brought back Employee Appreciation Day, ate in the break room, listened. Slowly, the place changed, realer, not softer. One night, Cynthia, the janitor whose son was hurt, left Denise a note. I didn't think people like us could make it here. You proved me wrong. Denise kept it in her top drawer. But folks still whispered, Why'd she wait so long? Denise just smiled, laced her fingers, because power only matters when you know how to use it. If I'd come sooner, they'd have said I overreacted. But 15 years of silence? That's undeniable. She watched them hang themselves with their own rope. When the time came, she didn't argue, just showed them the truth. One afternoon, Denise walked the same hallway where Wexler had pointed at that spot. Now it was spotless, and no one dared talk down to her. An intern passed her, stammered, Hi, Mrs. Jenkins. She smiled, just Denise. That day, she held a little get-together for the staff. No speeches, no banners, just food trucks, folding chairs, laughter. Alonzo, the driver, raised his soda, to the quiet ones. Denise lifted her can, to the ones nobody saw coming. Here's the thing, it wasn't just about her. It was about how quick we are to judge by uniforms, how fast we talk over the person with the mop, how easy we tie worth to a title. Denise wasn't the exception, she was the reminder. People aren't invisible just because you stop looking. And sometimes, the person sweeping the floor is the one who built the house. So next time you pass someone you've never really seen, maybe say hello. You never know who's holding the keys. If this story made you pause, share it, because right now, somewhere, another Miss Denise is getting ignored, and maybe she's watching. Let her know you see her.